Hi, my name is Natalie Lau and this is my product for the unit EST400. I had wanted to make a focus rug for foundation students to help them with their focus and concentration, so that when they were sitting down on the rug, they would be able to focus on the speaker, whether it's their teacher or giving them instructions, or their students doing show and tell or doing an oral presentation. Now, my criteria for this rug was that it had to be functional, so it had to be able to lie flat and sit anywhere in the room, so whether that was in the center or in a designated reading area. It needed to be sustainable, so I wanted to use materials that were able to be used secondhand or that people didn't want anymore, like t-shirts that people were chucking out or that was heading for the op shop. It needed to be circular as well, ideally, but it would depend on the pattern that I chose. I wanted it to be circular so it could mimic what a lot of classes do for discussions and sitting down as well. And it needed to be big enough to fit at least 5 to 6 foundation students at a time. So how I did it was I used a crochet needle, which is 9mm in width, and a pair of fabric scissors. And what I did with the old t-shirt was I had cut across the body of the t-shirt, and then I cut diagonally to create strips of continuous fabric so that I could use it as my material to crochet the rug. So I had already learned how to knit before, but I had never crocheted before, so I wanted something that was a challenge for me that I could learn for this project. So some problems that happened was, as I was crocheting, I noticed that the rug was getting to be wavy to the point where it would fold over on itself. But I didn't want that at all. I wanted to be able to lie flat. So what I did was I had to take it apart again, and the instructions I was going off was saying to add an extra stitch for every row that you crocheted around. But then, so it didn't get to that wavy point, I had to estimate how many to increase and how many to decrease. And because if I increased too much, it would be wavy and it wouldn't lie flat. If I decreased too much, it would start to curl inward to make a kind of a hat. So that was through trial and error. Another problem I ran into was that I had estimated 30 t-shirts to make the whole rug. However, as I was going through the rug making process, I realized that the 30 t-shirts were not going to be enough to fit 5 to 6 students, and I wouldn't be able to fulfill that criteria at all. And my initial plan was to go to the op shop and buy a few t-shirts from there, but with the COVID-19 pandemic, all the op shops were closed. So my next plan was to call up friends and family and ask if they had any t-shirts that they were able to spare, so that they were throwing out, so that I could go to their place, pick it up from their doorstep or from their mailbox, and then bring it back, wash it, prepare it, and then cut it into strips. So another way that I used to combat this problem was that the instructions all called for the t-shirt to be, for this part of the t-shirt to be used, and for the sleeves and the collar to be discarded, or the top bit. But what I did to increase the amount of material I had was to cut the sleeves and then cut in a way that it would make continuous fabric and then tie it with each other, so I had more fabric to use as well. So I believe from after I finished this product that it has fulfilled all the criteria. So it's functional, it can lie fairly flat. There are a little bit of some waves and kinks, but I figure over time, as students are sitting on it continuously and using it every day, that they will flat out, and the material is stretchy enough that it's able to be spread out and flattened. You can put it in the middle of the classroom or in a designated reading area, as I said before. All the material is sustainable. Although I wanted to use just t-shirts, I ended up using about 3 dresses, long dresses, so I had more fabric to work with. But all the material was sustainable, and I was able to not have to go out and buy new things to make the rug. And it was also circular as well. I managed to be able to crochet and find an instructional video that helped me make a circular rug. So that's it. Thank you.